Usu, peace, black power, and welcome to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School is a black nationalist, pan-African community organization based in Harlem. We provide relevant and credible political education to help black people wake up, clean up, and stand up, in the words of Brother Malcolm X. To do this, we provide panel discussions, political commentary, mini documentaries, leadership tips, classes, and interviews with some of our most dedicated and effective leaders, activists, and intellectuals around the world. Peace and Black Power families, Brother AGYEI from Harlem Liberation School, with my brother Bomani Shakur. And you know what we doing on Wednesday nights, man, the second Wednesday of every month at 6:30 Eastern. We are talking about a topic that is in all the crap that we hear on this news, in our circles, the gossip circles. You don't hear nobody talking about, yo, what we gonna do about Mumia Abu-Jamal? Yo, who's raising money? Who's writing the political prisoners? When are they gonna get out? Let's check on their medical condition. So this, of all the broadcasts, and I think all of our broadcasts are important. I personally think this is one of the most important because it's covering a subject that people don't talk about. You know, these are people that put their lives on the line, got caught behind enemy lines and doing 20, 30, 40, 50 years in jail. Many of them having done nothing criminal. So anyway, before we get into it today, let me introduce our brother Bomani. How you be, good brother? Free to land.
Mighty be necessary, brother. I'm well. How about yourself? I'm well, brother.
Hey, no complaints, brother. I'm glad to be here with you again, man. I'm hearing that this broadcast, it got people talking, brother. They loving this.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Good education, man. Good education, mind stimulating information, man. For the
Yes,
mass
sir.
of the
That's
people,
largely
man.
because of you. That's because of you, brother Bomani. I knew who to go to for this, man. You are the go-to. So I give a lot
No
of
doubt. Appreciate it.
a lot of that I think goes to your ability to really bring good information, make it lively, make it relevant. So I thank you for that. Family, those of you watching, you're here at Harlem Liberation School. We're a Black political education center headquartered in Harlem, New York. And of course, we have a YouTube channel by the same name. Thank you for joining. Please take time right now to subscribe. Please don't share this all to your, keep this all to yourself. Share with another brother, sister, comrade, friend, or loved one that they may get what you're about to get, which will be a good meal. Today, we are talking about Mumia Abu-Jamal, the case, the controversy, and the legacy. We're going to learn about who Brother Mumia is, what's special about his case, some of the controversy, and why his case is important. And so I'm going to, of course, begin our questioning. I want to first thank all the people I see. I see Sister Natalie is in the building, giving us some shout outs. Queen B. Brenda is in the building, saying Wakusa to the family. What's up, Queen? And then we got Sister is saying, please join us, welcoming our dear brother Bomani Shakur back to the forum. Absolutely. Forgive me, family. Got coming off of a cold. All right, let's get right into it, man. First, let me say a quick announcement. I have a new YouTube channel called The Real Wise OG. It's come to my attention that our men, our brothers in the community, we got to step up. We got to be more responsible, more honest, more reliable, more productive, and more community centered. Stop chasing the materialism, the sex, and all this other crap, and start getting our families back, getting our relationships back, building our nation, living lives that make our ancestors proud. This channel uses AI and a fictional character that's teaching real truth for the brothers. Sisters, you're welcome to check it out too, but it's directly for the brothers. And if you're watching this and you're a black man or a black woman who loves a black man or knows black men that need to hear it, tell them, subscribe to the Real Wise OG channel so you can get that real truth that brothers need to hear. That said, Brother Bomani, could you please share with our brothers and sisters, who is Mumia Abu-Jamal generally, and how did he become, like, of all these different political prisoners, how has he become one of the most well-known of our incarcerated activists and political prisoners in almost in the whole wide world?
Okay, well, we gotta look at it from a historical perspective, right? Mumia Abu-Jamal, at a young age, he was we want to term it the child prodigy. He was a child prodigy. He actually got involved in the revolutionary movement in regards to protesting against certain conditions in Philadelphia, right? He protested certain conditions, like he got beaten. And in the midst of that beating, he wanted to fight back. So when the Black Panther Party came about in '66 and '68, they were going to other spots. So Mumia Abu-Jamal, at a young age, at the age of 14, he became one of the co-founders of the Philadelphia Black Panther Party chapter, right? And in the midst of that, them being a prodigy, the brother was he was educated and or mentored by people like Emory Douglas, who was the minister of culture of the Black Panther Party Central Committee. He also had a connection with the Bronx chapter of Black Panther Party in regards to the Ministry of Information, because he was about information, right? So he started becoming get educated during that time period, and at the young age, basically the young age of 16, he found his niche, which basically was journaling, writing, graphic art, things of that nature, right? So in 1970, the brother resigned. He resigned from the Black Panther Party, right, and went back to school and got an education and started engaging into journalism. He got engaged into journalism that eventually brought him to be the chair of a Black journal organization. He working on a radio show. We worked with different people that was in the Afro People Party and RAM, other formations. So the brother, when he was 14, he was already being watched by the FBI, right? So he already had a file. So as soon as he resigned from Black Panther, he got on to the Black Panther. He went to co-file in 1968 in Philadelphia. He resigned in 1970. When he resigned, the Fed continued to watch and observe him even when he was in school. He was a high school student. They was heard of him in high school. You know what I'm saying? Looking at the files, what he writing about, what he talking about, who he communicating with. Because, like I said, he was mentored by a lot of elders from the Central Committee, elders from the Bronx chapter, the Ministry of Information chapter in general, but he also had relationships, what I'm saying, to other individuals that were also active in the movement. Because at the time period, at the time of his incarceration and capture, right? He was doing a lot of broadcasting and propagation work, just like we're doing right now, and he would highlight a lot of atrocities that would happen to the Move family members. A lot of the sisters in the Move family were being raped, they were being abused, being beaten, they were being attacked by pigs and other things. So Mumia was reporting all this and putting information out there to people so they get to understanding, right? So, we put it in retrospect in regards to the power one tool of information and propagation. They all been a threat to the master that be, right? So in the midst of all of this, in 1981, um, he was driving a cab. He was a cab driver. He trying to make extra money to support his own endeavors of journalism, and education, information, so forth and so forth. Known, right? So in the midst of this, while he was driving his cab, he witnessed a brother getting beat. He witnessed a brother getting beat by the pigs and everything. So he pulled over, and when he pulled over the situation, they got pulled into the situation as the person who's alleged to be the shooter, right? Now, eyewitnesses was the person who was the shooter was a short brother that weighed like 200 pounds. He had an afro. And at the time period, Mumia Abu-Jamal had lost. He had lost. You know what I'm saying? He had lost. And he brother like 6'1", he was like 170. So they're definitely not the same assailant, right? But when we take that in retrospect in regard to what occurred during the 60s and 70s, right? Like for instance, the 1967 shooting of the pig by related to Huey Newton, the 1969 what they call 1969 RNA 11 RNA shooting, you know what I'm saying, and RNA shooting in Detroit. 1970 R and 11 situation, and even in 1969, even 1969 situation again in the pound 21. You look at all these different situations in regards to it, and even 1973 situation in regards to a South Secure and Zaire Malik and all that with the pigs on the New Jersey Turnpike. You look at all these situations, right? You look at all these situations, they all
Brother
relate
Bomani,
to.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have an important question. Our time is going by quick, and I want to make sure that people, what exactly got Mumia Abu-Jamal in the spotlight and got him imprisoned? What happened? I know we know around the Move organization in Philly. If you could catch people up
Okay,
with that, yeah.
we're happy, you know what I'm saying? A police got killed, got murdered, you know, and they charged Mumia with the murder. And ever since then, he been incarcerated. But even before then, he was doing the journalism and the propagation and all. He was doing all that work. He was already being monitored, like I said, since he was the 14. So that actually got him known as a renowned person because he became known the voice of the voiceless. Because he was speaking for the injustice that happened to God, new African people, and all around the world, especially in Philadelphia, and they were monitoring and watching him as a teenager. So and then they put him on death row for the case, put him on death row. So they wanted to execute him in 1995, but all the people came together nationally, internationally, and stopped him from being executed. So he still been under situation regarding death row stuff like that, right? So they just been persecuted brother, and the brother done wrote various books. Like one of the books he wrote was called "Live from Death Row." He wrote that in '95, the same year they been murdered him. You know, talking about his situation, regarding the influence, the history, so forth and so on, right? So uh, he's a major propagandist. He even wrote materials about Black August. His title on Black August, and so many different things he done wrote about, right? You know, mass incarceration, political prison. He wrote so many different stuff, you know. So the brother known for being a writer. He's a journalist, you know, propagandist. Now,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, and he's a remarkable um broadcast journalist too. He has a really good voice. I've heard of you.
yeah,
I don't know if he was in the studio, if he made tapes, if he smuggled tapes, whatever. But there used to be you could hear him talking about these different issues. A really good broadcasting voice as well. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. The brother actually worked. He worked at a radio. He worked at a radio. He worked at a radio station when he got incarcerated. He was doing work there as a radio station. So that's what he was doing. He was broadcasting stuff on the radio in regards to who he is, right? In regards to what was going on in the history. Like he was telling about the different atrocities and police brutality, and he talking about, you know what I'm saying? Like today is the anniversary of the Moore family bombing, right? That happened in 1985, March the 13th, right? It's also the anniversary of the acquittal of the Panther 21 that happened that occurred. That the acquittal occurred March 13, 1971, where Mama Secure basically put the work in, you know what I'm saying, to get the release of all the other 12 convicts made 13 to release them, right? So, you know, Mumia Abu-Jamal whole family had been active in development and movement from the Black Lucian movement to the New African Independent movement. You know, they've been active in certain things, right? You know, in fact, a lot of connection relate to the New African Independent movement. You know, in regards to Dr. Barry Shango and Alpha People Party, Ram, so forth, so on. It's in Philadelphia, right? It's a lot of relationships to a lot of different things, a lot of different connections, right? You know, so that's just a lot in a nutshell. You know, that really we even got time to get into. I'm just you can do your research and find out more about the information on your own. You know, so yeah.
Okay, with that, thank you for that, brother Bomani. Want to welcome people watching live. We're going to welcome those of you in advance who will watch the later recorded version. We're talking about our brother Mumia Abu-Jamal, his case, his controversy, and the legacy. This whole broadcast on the second Wednesday of every month at 6:30 p.m. Eastern is dedicated to the issue of political prisoners to keep you up to date, help you define the most important terms in this particular area of activism, and to make sure you're acquainted with some of the people who are incarcerated, some who are alive, some who are deceased, And to help you understand that we have an obligation to fight for them, to be their voices on the outside, to raise money and do the things we need to do to help get them home. With that said, Brother Bomani, for some reason, there's controversy surrounding Mumia Abu-Jamal. There's some legal controversies. Some people dispute the issues surrounding the case. Some people are, it would appear, mad, if you will, that he has gotten a lot more attention than other political prisoners. Take your pick, Brother Bomani, and jump in wherever you would want on that issue, the major controversies surrounding his case and the man himself.
Okay, well, one of the controversy is that that people don't look into in regards to the case is like, okay, well, Mumia, he particularly asked for a particular lawyer to represent him, right? And the state denied him access to the legal counsel of his choice. They denied that.
Mm,
Okay. Then they also dismissed a lot of testimonies by people that were notable in different relationships because of their association with different movements as well, like such as like Slang Sanchez. She was connected to the New African Independent Movement and NAPO and other formations. She was a poet, revolutionary, and she was dedicated to certain things. And also, they would deny a lot of the aspects of the statement that the people had in regards to that identify a different person that was associated with it. And due to the fact that Mumia already had a history already as a revolutionary and also as a child prodigy, he was already being monitored way back in '68 before it even happened in 1981. So, the controversy is like, okay, this brother was doing this, he put his work in as a propagandist, and also in the midst of the time from '68 all the way to '81, different things occurred all out through the nation in regards to uh, police getting murdered by different formations from the Republic of Africa, from the Black Panther Party, from other movements all around. People began police began murder, right? So in the midst of that, we think about it realistically, right? Like if these people are murdering these people and getting out these cases or getting away with these deaths and everything, the state never forget, the feds never forget things. So what they're gonna do is snatch somebody up that has some kind of historical background, with some kind of revolutionary or political movement. Even though at that time period, 1981, he had resigned from the Black Party in 1970, so he wasn't a Panther, and then he wasn't a part of the movement. He was just a supporter of their works and activities, right? So the brother just locked up as being a person that was outspoken, as a voice for the people. He was a broadcaster, he was a journalist, he was a writer and an educator. He was locked up for those things, right? So in the midst of those aspects, that's the real controversy. Like the controversy, like you locked your brother up for basically voicing their thoughts, and putting things on him that didn't pertain to him due to the fact that he'd been putting in work a long time. And the state there racist and white supremacy. Now, yeah.
for that, Brother Bomani. Those of you who are watching, remember we have limited this show is about 30, 40 minutes, family. So if you have any questions that you would like us to address, please post them in the comment section so we can get to them. Time is going by quickly, so we want to make sure we get to all the major points of this. Now, having addressed that, um, some people consider Mumia Abu-Jamal a political prisoner, and other people disagree. From what we talked about, I think on our very first broadcast, Brother Bomani, is is Brother Mumia a political prisoner? Yes or no, as you see it.
Yeah, yeah, yes. He's a political prisoner. He's a political prisoner. He been politically attacked and monitored by the state for decades. And his work has all been evolved around political organization. In fact, that the Move Nine that occurred in 1978, he reported on a lot of those things that happened. They were political prisoners. You know what I'm saying? All of them been released now, but they did 40. All of them did like 40 plus years. He was an African supporter of that, and we know that the government and state structure in Philadelphia has always persecuted them since their beginning, but since their origins, since John Africa originate them.
Mm.
We understand that, especially in regards to them having their own village, their own community, and so they had their own lifestyles, a certain way they eat and things of that nature. Right? They've been persecuted since then. And Mumia had been reporting. He was like one of the only ones really reporting all this stuff on his own broadcast. We reporting a lot of this stuff, and putting it out there and letting people know and writing about it and talking about it, informing people, because their underground radio and information is always a vital aspect in regards to how we move. Their radio like a way to communicate with people outside of your parameter, so they can be aware. Like people in California know about it, people in New York know about it, people in the South know about it, people in the Midwest know about it because of the radio. They can listen to these things, and some people even have their own recording, they tapes or whatever, to listen to certain things, go back and look at it, and listen to it, stuff like that. So this is very, very important. Like just like the same work we're doing right now, we
Yes,
broadcasting
sir.
right now. We done the same work that he was doing, broadcasting information, highlighting story, highlight individuals. Uh, 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 Mumia probably never thought that he'd be talked about right now, but he was talking about people. But he understood the situation because he understood what was going on at a young age. The brother real sharp. Like I said, he was a prodigy. He was educated and mentored by some of the greatest thinkers. Like Aaron Douglas was one of the greatest propagandists out there. He did a lot of the cartoons and drawings and paintings and art for the Black Panther Party and the Central Committee. He was educated, but they're one of the people that put him up on his wing as a young disciple, young student, because he saw the power the brother had, in regards to who he is, right? So it's just a lot of stuff out there, right? It's a
Brother.
lot. It's a lot. You look at it.
Yes, sir. As I'm listening to you, I'm thinking that one of the things I see in the one of the undercurrents, one of the things I'm critical of in the black political community. I'm talking now about the nationalist Pan Africanist community. Is that it's very easy to be critical of each other, right? We banging on each other, and this one should have did this, and
Yeah,
I can't believe he did that, and oh man, if it was me, I would have done it. I'm like, we need to be critical of each other, but I want to make sure everyone watching this is very clear that no matter what a brother or sister has done to us on this planet, they will not come anywhere closer to what white supremacy has done to our people.
exactly.
Enslaved us, sexually assaulted us, men and women, split our families up way before ICE was thought about. Okay, had us working for free, stole our intellectual property, didn't let us file for patents, and took our stuff, operating on our sisters without anesthesia, the so-called father of gynecology, and we can go on and on and on. So, as mad as we get with our brothers and sisters, make sure we bottle that energy up and get real mad with the enemy who's working feverishly to subjugate all of us. Make sure we fight
No
people
doubt.
who spend all their time and money fighting us. Don't get too caught up in this low vibrational stuff. Always remember who is trying to destroy you and who has in fact killed some of our greatest, best, and brightest leaders. That's very important. I just got to say that. Now back to the regularly programmed show. Brother Bomani, I wanted to know, take people back to the 80s, the media, hip hop, how they covered race. How did all that shape the climate? That climate, how did it shape how people perceived Mumia Abu-Jamal and the Move organization? Because I think that's important too. We got to give a shout out to the Move organization, John Africa, Sister Pam Africa, Mama Pam Africa, and all the other people that were part of that movement.
Well, okay. I'm gonna put it like this, right? In the '60s, right? We saw the rise of different movement from the Black Liberation Movement, the Black Power Movement, the Black Arts and Steady Movement, the African Independent Movement, and so forth and so on. We saw the rise of that, right? Where a lot of brothers. Then we saw also a lot of murders and assassination of brothers and sisters as well. But in the '70s, the dynamic changed. The introduction of black exploitation movies, the introduction of people pimping and hoeing and and all the stuff introduced in the '70s, right? So And when you think about it, in the '80s, a lot of the movements and climates changed, political climate changed because one thing, the Black Panther Party um, disbanded in 1982. Okay, that one thing, they disbanded in 1982. Also, in regards to the things that were going on in the '60s and '70s about the revolutionary movement, there were a lot of the movement a lot of people became incarcerated. They still doing time. You had people propagating and pushing Black August in the '70s. A lot of them brothers was in prison. A lot of them just started getting out in the '80s. Um, a lot of aspects of a lot of black book company, new African book company business, inspiring and opening. The propagation was there, it was there. But yet also another token, they were outshadowed because we still have seen the reminiscence of the '70s in regard to the pimping and hoeing culture that they presented to people and the black exploitation. It's gonna make a mockery of our revolutionary, make them out of our liberation and our struggle and so forth and so on. So then we also knew that a lot of the COINTELPRO stuff were known to the mess of the people because it would find out what was going on. So people are aware of this stuff. So when we talking about being a black radical or a black extremist or anything like that, those terms were they were not appealing to the people. A lot of those
Mm-hmm.
terms were not related to the people, But yet you still had people that you still had movements that flourished, like the New African Prisoner Organization, New African People Organization, the Malcolm X Center for Self-Determination. You had formations that still were pushing doing the work that they would continue from the '60s to the '70s. They still continue to work, right? So, but the climate was different from the '60s and '70s in regards to the political continent coming awareness because now a lot of people had been murdered, a lot of people been exiled, a lot of people been in prison, them got out. A lot of people's spirit had been broken. A lot of people was afraid to get involved with certain things because it wasn't gonna happen. So
Mm-hmm.
the political climate, political consciousness was changing in regards to what Mumia were doing were really dangerous because they already had been watching different individuals in the '60s and '70s that were influential in music, influential in television, art, journalism, writing. So for they already been watching these folks already since the '60s and '70s, '60s and '70s. And Mumia Abu-Jamal, one of those individuals as well at a young age. So the surveillance had changed at the time period. So more people were scared than what they were. People are ready to be informants. People are ready to be snitches, and it's just a lot of stuff that was transpired that were different from the '60s and '70s, right? And I want to
Yeah.
hear right there.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that, brother Bomani. Those you watching, we're talking about our brother Mumia Abu-Jamal, his case, his controversy, and his legacy. He's still alive. I believe he's 72 years old. And if you're not clear, just to make sure you're clear, he got imprisoned for his political activity, his political savvy, his community organizing ability, his journalism, writing, right? He's a Panther, I believe, at the age of 14 in high school. Is that right, Brother Bomani? He's a Panther for 2 years,
Yeah,
and he was writing. He wasn't even in the Move organization. He was writing about it and what happened, right? Okay, and
yeah,
they framed him and put him in prison. Now, for those who think all black people, because they black, that they good and they down with us, be clear, there was a mayor of Philadelphia. I will never forget this. I think his name was Wilson Good, who sanctioned the bombing of the house where the Move members lived. I want y'all just to think about that. If you were watching the news today and you heard, oh wow, they just bombed the house where Harlem Racing School operates, or the New African Political Prisoner Movement is headquarters. They just bombed the house in the middle of a city, like a major city like Philadelphia, just
yeah,
bombed the house with people in it. How that would affect you. We watch the news and go, oh my God, did you hear? What would you think about that? This is what happened, right? This is what happened in
yeah,
recent history. And people try to make it seem like, oh, they're bigging up Mumia Abu-Jamal and the move. Listen, they bombed these people's house because they were radical. They had an alternative way of looking at the world. It was certainly pro-black, and because neighbors were uncomfortable with some of the things they were seeing and hearing about them, rumors and innuendos, and the government wanted to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Back then, that might have been the last time, Brother Bomani, that the government moved in such a callous and violent way. Kind of since the 60s and 70s, in that period, they started doing stuff like we'll assassinate your character, we'll accuse you of embezzlement, we'll throw a little crack in your car, we'll get a prostitute to say you the ABC. They did a little bit, they got a little bit more savvy because they realized that creating martyrs and creating people that are persecuted like that actually, believe it or not, grows the movement,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but I
Spirit.
want y'all to
It
know,
builds a
just because
spirit of
you're black
resistance.
don't mean they with you. There was a mayor, and let's get a mayor in. Okay, let's get black mayors. He was a black mayor. He was a black mayor that authorized the bombing of a black organization. There's lessons in this. I hope y'all are getting. There's lessons in that. Be clear that skin color ain't where it's at. That doesn't determine your politics. So we want people black, but we also want people who have a heart, empathy for their people, and a love for their people and some consciousness. Because you get a bunch of Negroes in there, and this is like having a white man in office. There's black people that support
Yeah.
Trump. So I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I just had to put that in there, man.
Yeah.
So be
I want to
clear.
add on to that, right? Because
Yes, please.
you know, all the families and community. He brought not just a house, he brought a whole community. That was basically their village. So a lot of people that got murdered during that time period, a lot of them were children. A lot of them were children. They also killed the founder, which is John Africa, but they killed a lot of children. And the only survival of that whole situation was Mama Rona Africa. She was
Mm-hmm.
the only survivor of that situation. Who's still around today. You know what I'm saying? She's not in 200% health. She's sickly, but she still survive. She still survived. And the sickness that she experienced now is over recent time, the last 4 or 5 years. So that's an atrocity. You just systematically murder and kill all these children. The children didn't get a chance to grow up. The children didn't get a chance to really find themselves, even know themselves. We just got to put that in retrospect. And this happened in 1985.
Boom.
They were 41 years ago. This in the
That's
20th
right around the
century,
corner,
and
but yeah, that's close.
yeah, it wasn't in the early 1900s or 1800s. But we do know that's a pattern because every time we started building something independently, as a city or village or a nation, that they destroy us. From Rosewood, from Central Station and Rosewood, and what I'm saying, uh, place in North Carolina. Different situations in Arkansas, different places, man. They all would destroy us. They all destroy our establishment. They're all there living, trying to build a nation. It's a Mississippi. They're all attacking and destroying us, right? So one thing about them, the beast never forgets certain things that we don't get to them, or how they feel about our resistance. Because it's all about mental and physical enslavement. Even with mass incarceration. Mass 13 Amendment state that once you commit a crime, you're a slave again. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're a slave once you're convicted of a crime. You're a slave. And how they look at it, Jess is already blind. Jess is blind already. He already don't see you already anyway. Because
Mm-hmm.
Jess is a European goddess, a goddess of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire, it was the American government modeled a lot of the system out. Things like the Senate, the Congress, and amendments and all that stuff came from the system of the Roman Empire, which is one of the more atrocious white supremacist regime in history in regards to trying to dominate, trying to rule the whole world. But they receive justice about certain people, but they try to rule the whole world. So our American academic system, American legal system, are modeled after them in regard to terminology, idea, concept, constitution, paperwork, positions, the way they dress, everything, the language. You know what I'm saying? They say Latin is a legal language. The Black Law Dictionary and all the other stuff come Latin, man. That's the Roman Empire. Another atrocious empire. Even the Roman Empire symbol is the eagle. The American symbol is the eagle. So all this just symbolic to what we got going on. and how we attack certain things, how we deal with it, right? Yeah, our greatest tool and asset right now is our mind, and it's also education. We live in a society now where everything being dumbed down. Everything being dumbed down. Like, okay, we got AI, we got AI break. Now people use the AI to take the place of instead of making real flight, and then they're making animated fly with different people that don't even look like the people, or they use an AI to communicate, use an AI to talk and write letters and all this stuff. Also that takes away the originality, it takes away your intelligence. People talking to AI, asking AI a question. He talking to Andrew asking a question when it's a whole database that accumulated from the aspect where humans tell it. Now, it's just a computer system, you know, and the more we look at certain things like that, the more we look into we go into a certain time period, it's taken away from nature. It's taking us away from who we actually are, right? It's taken away from each other because along we function in these different type of digital realm, we're not gonna love each other like we're supposed to. We're not gonna build a community like we're supposed to. We're not gonna be a family like we're supposed to because we don't have no affinity toward each other because of these different situations, right? We're not going back to the old ways of being okay. That's my neighbor, so we're gonna build a community of. We're gonna build a community card in the neighbor. We're gonna train. We gonna learn emergency preparedness, and we gonna build a school or a hospital or a community center in that area. Those are the things they need to be doing in regards. Because we look at everybody else. We behind. We behind. We behind on all levels. So it's on us who know these things to actually use this as a spark. It is a spark to spark people of consciousness because it doesn't take but one person consciousness to spark others. And that's what we're doing in the broadcast. That we intend to inform and educate you to make you question things, to make you ask questions, to make you research, and make you want to transfer your own mind from the situation in regard to us for not being a mental slave. That's what we're doing right now. This is the work. We're doing the same work Mumia Abu-Jamal doing. Broadcasting, journalism, propagation. Doing the same work he was doing. Then the same work various other people that was in ministry information position did in various formations. From Mario Albert to Professor Grill. Different individuals that have been in ministry information all around. We doing the work. We doing the work that they're doing right now. You know what I'm saying? With this broadcast. By control of media. Because right now we had an opportunity to present our narrative, not their narrative, not his story, but our story and our narrative. So you can make the choice and change the decision to get information. You make your choice what you're gonna do with it. If information applicable to you or not. If you get some lessons in it, get lessons in them or not. Pass it on if you choose to. But the choice is yours because we disseminate it. We put it out there. So it's on you. And I yeah.
Thank you for that, brother Bomani. Family, Dr. Amos Wilson famously said and wrote that white supremacy could not survive if black people were in their right minds. That in order for
Exactly.
white supremacy to survive, we literally have to be out of our minds. So I want you to think about prison, since we're talking about political prisons. I want you to think about all the communities, all of the people in our community that are wearing that as a badge of honor. Yeah, I did X amount of years, and I did this, and I did that. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about prison was created to re-enslave black people in this country. That's clear. As Brother Bomani said, the 13th Amendment says it right in bold letters. You go there, they take your name, they call you by a number, inmate 18350. They take your name, they take your clothes and give you clothes. They take your freedom to go to sleep when you want, to go outside when you want, right? To read what you want. You get stuff in the mail. They go through the mail. They can tell you what you can't get, what you can get. They reduce you to being a non-citizen, essentially. They work you, you barely get any real money, 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents an hour or a day. It's ridiculous. And yet, some of us wear that as a badge of manhood, right? I want y'all to rethink this. It's not to say we beat up and that we disapprove of our brothers and sisters have been incarcerated. We're not saying that. We're saying don't hold that up as an achievement. And why is it that with all the schools and libraries and museums, there's so many black people got conscious in prison? Think about that. Why is that the case? What does that say about your mainstream institutions? You're supposed to be learning your history in school. I've had so many people on these broadcasts that say, "Yeah, man, I came into consciousness in prison." What does that tell you? So I hope this show you'll learn about political prisoners, but I hope you also are questioning, like, wow, why are we celebrating that? Why is that our badge of honor? Why is our badge of honor how many joints we did, how many bids we did? And why most of the time is it us fighting each other and robbing each other and ready to kill each other? As soon as the white cop come, we just as nice and quiet and polite. That's saying something about our psychology. That's what Dr. Amos Wilson was talking about. So we hope when you watch the show, you're going to get the facts, the history of political prisoners, but there's so much more. If you really pay attention to what Bomani is saying, there's a whole lot of other lessons in this. You should be saying, well, how was they able to just bomb in a residential block in a major city, just bomb a house? How is that possible? That's a question. This brother was black. What does that mean for politics and black political participation? Does that necessarily mean that that's the answer? That's a question, right? And if we have freedom of expression and First Amendment rights, why was Brother Mumia locked up in the first place? That's a question. So I hope y'all are thinking like that when you're hearing some of the things Brother Bomani is saying. We got one more question for Brother Bomani before we end, and that is kind of a segue from what I just said, Brother Bomani. When you think of Mumia Abu-Jamal and his case, what would you say it teaches us? What lessons do we get from his case about, I don't know, the so-called criminal justice system or political activism or anything in that arena? What are the lessons that you get from that when you think about it?
The great lesson I get from it is that our voice is powerful, and the oppressor doesn't want our voice to be out there. So they'll do whatever it takes to neutralize our voice, to stop what they want to say, term at the rise of the Black Messiah, or stop what they want to say, you know what I'm saying, some kind of rebellion or resistance. They'll use whatever we can to stop our voice, and our voice has power, you know. And what we do and say can have a great effect upon everybody else in the world, right? But it also shows us that um, history is a weapon that we utilize to our advancement, or we can utilize to our demise. That's what it show tells to me. You know, because even right now, we're very campaigning to free Mumia Abu-Jamal from the aspects of a medical release, having medical problems and issues, and from people come from you know what I'm saying, the legal system not handling things properly the way they're supposed to, or not taking the evidence, so forth, so on, right? But it shows us the power of information and propagation, and how we can do it to benefit us as a nation of people. And I yield.
Thank you for that, my good brother, Brother Bomani. Man, tell us some of the other things you're working on, good brother. Any projects you work on that you want people to know about so that we can support what you're doing.
Okay, I'm currently working on the campaign to free Abdul Shakur. Abdul
Mm.
Shakur, as we think about the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal, right? Their case happened during around the same time period. You know, Mumia was locked up, you know what I'm saying, for killing a police. Abdul was locked up for killing a Marine, a soldier. But both of the soldiers and one of the police example of the same institution, right? In regards to the same government institution, right? So, and Mumia Abu-Jamal was a panther at a young age. Abdul Shakur was a panther at a young age, a panther cub at a young age, and also acting in Black Panther Party at a young age. You know, Mumia Abu-Jamal case had people saying certain things. Abdul Shakur had people in the case saying certain things, right?
Wasn't
And
he
Mumia
protecting his
Abu-Jamal,
sister's life? And that's what
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yes, protecting. They're protecting the sister's life, based on the same thing that the Panther Party and other aspects were doing, But right now, our dude comes up parole July the 16th. And what we ask people to do is various formations, what I'm saying, and organization people for the people to write support letters. Write support letters stating how our dude have been a contribution to the community with different programs like the Satellite Network, which is a program geared toward find out missing men, women, and children, new African descent. The Emergency Response Network, which is to get or preparedness for natural disasters. Like, for instance, we talk about the move family bombing, right? Now, if the community were prepared for that type of stuff, we might could have had underground tunnels. We might could have other aspects not means to escape. It's like the RN11 when it was attacked in Mississippi. They went under the house, and so they went under the house while they were attacked. They had to shoot out the pigs and they murdered pigs, so forth, so on. But they went up on the house and everything to avoid all the shells and the attacking from all the missiles and the guns and so forth and so on, right? What do we think about even with the 41st century, the Black Panther Party chapter was fortified through to the AC Geronimo Pratt to withstand the bombs, the gunfire and the artillery and stuff like that. When we think about Mercy Response Network, we're able to withstand not only polar brutality, but withstand natural disasters like hurricane, tornadoes, got now tsunamis, earthquakes. You know what I'm saying? We understand that, okay, if we can't get to the hospital, we have our own triad, community triad people to help patch us up when certain things happen in our community, right? Those are some of the programs that Aldo Luke Security is pushing and promoting and propagating, right? So we need to support the people to write these letters to actually evaluate some information from the Emergency Response Network, a satellite network, and asking these support letters in to his lawyer. So when you go parole, the state can know that he got support and the people want him out.
Right. Well,
That
listen, man.
he's a criminal and they don't want him out.
Yes, sir. Brother
Yeah.
Bomani, I think you sent me that information about the pen pal. I'm gonna go through my records and I'm gonna try to put up a post, and we'll see if we can get some people to write in on our brother's behalf.
Okay.
All right.
No doubt.
Um, Listen, family, make sure you tune in every second Wednesday of the month, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Eastern. Remember, if you're in LA, it's 3 hours ahead, but it's 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm really blessed to have the support and the co-hosting of our good brother Bomani, who's very well known in our community as a political educator, as a community organizer, definitely a historian, definitely knows his stuff, and a fighter for our people on the front lines. Appreciate you, good
No
brother.
doubt.
Can't
I
I actually
appreciate you,
can't
brother.
wait for these broadcasts. I love them. I think they're short, but they're power packed,
Yeah.
and there's always a good response from our people.
No doubt.
One
They're
quick
beautiful.
thing. Golden Baby 360 said, "Is he still being denied medical care?" I believe. I don't know if he or she is referring to Mumia or
Yeah. They talking about Mumia. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. He actually getting certain medical care. That he needed rather, but the whole push is basically like they trying to get him medical release because he's real sick, and the state is basically pushing against that. He's getting the proper medical attention that he's getting there right now. It was time that he wasn't getting that. When they found he had skin irritations and his face all swelled up and skin discoloration and because he got different things, he got like hepatitis and diabetes. He got all kind of different health ailments, right? So the brother need to be out, but he's getting the proper net attention because of because of people like you, like pushing the line. People getting internet support and that support, so they doing what they're supposed to be doing. You even got people that the professor like Professor Johanna Fernandez that been supporting campaigns in the 90s. She's a professor. She's a propagandist as well. So she's supporting the movement. It's a lot of people supporting his aspect and deal with right and make sure he get what he deserves in regards to his medical attention and fair treatment, right? So yeah. That's not an issue right now in particular. It was an issue, but it's not any longer.
That's thank you for the question, Golden Baby. Family, we have run out of time. Please join us again on our next episode, the next second Wednesday of next month. We'll be on at 6:30. Thank you to Brother Bomani. Want to say
Welcome.
peace, Black Power, free the land.
Vitamin S, sir.
Yes, sir. We'll see you all next time. Brother Bomani, thanks again, brother. And I'll
Peace.
catch up with you maybe tomorrow so we can talk about this particular broadcast. All right.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, brother. Peace, bro.
Peace, family.
Yes, sir.